All right. I can see it's starting to come up. I can see the stream is starting to come up. I'm just waiting for everything. Waiting for YouTube to give me the green light here. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Just Make the Thing. And I'm your host, Sean. And yeah, tonight I'm going to be doing a little bit of Unity, a little bit of lo-fi music in the background. Gonna be making some like a rocket ship game from Game Dev TV. I am not affiliated with GameDev.tv, but essentially this channel right now is just about me making, learning game development, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. So if you're joining my channel, if you're joining the live stream for the very first time, welcome. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. I am going to go ahead and keep my mic on mute for most of the time, unless you all ask me any questions in the chat. And then if you ask me questions in the chat, I'm definitely happy to chat along with you and talk. Although I might not leave my mic on mute. I might leave it open just because sometimes I like to ramble about certain things. But if I do have something, I think I will unmute myself. But thank you so much for joining the live stream. And without further ado, I'm going to just dive into this. So enjoy the music. And if you have any questions or you just want to chat and, whatever, just go ahead and put it right in the chat. Thanks. I'm just switching over right now. I'm kind of that rocket boost thing is fun and all, but I want to kind of go for something a little bit more challenging and get into something. I mean, the thing is, the reason why I want to do this and why I'm switching halfway through the stream here is because I like to teach myself problem solving, and watching tutorials the entire time and getting stuck in tutorial hell is not good. It doesn't really actually, your brain doesn't actually connect things together. And so you have to take and you have to get that problem solving gear going in your head. And the only way to get those gears going in your head is if you challenge yourself and do something like, that you're uncomfortable with, right? So think about like when you're a kid and you're learning to ride a bicycle, and your parent takes the training wheels off for the first time, and you're like, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And it's like, you just do it. So I've always been a fan of that style of learning. And the only way that you really make things truly happen is if you just take the leap and just try. So anyway, that's where I'm at with it. I'm going to go ahead and go into my other project that I'm working on, which is an RPG. Now that is very much the deep end of the pool, and I definitely don't expect to get very far tonight, but I do want to every week I want to get a little further ahead in this. And yes, I am going to be using AI. So if you're not a big fan of AI development, and you don't like how AI helps people with code and such, I don't know necessarily that you'll enjoy this stream, but I will say that AI has been a force multiplier for people who aren't necessarily the greatest at coding, or not necessarily the greatest at, if they have an idea in their head, like, for example, you have an idea to create an app and you're like, I want to make this thing. Well, now AI has empowered you to be able to make whatever it is you want to make. So I think that that's great. You don't have to be the best coder. You don't have to be an amazing coder. You have to know how to do a little bit. You don't have to know the basics, I think, because if you don't at least know the basics, then I think that you set yourself up for like the hallucinations that AI has and the issues that it comes up with. You can't really work through those things. And so that's kind of the main purpose of having some experience and some knowledge in programming. But I'm not in any way, shape, or form an expert. I won't say that I'm an expert, but I do think that it's really good to have at least some. Excuse me, I'm tired. Okay, now open up my RPG and get it going here. It'll take a minute to load. Turn my music up a little bit here. I've been trying to keep it relatively, where you can hear me. But if it gets too loud, let me know. All right, just waiting for it to load up here. Yeah, it doesn't look like much, but at least it's something. So I'm happy that it's a good start. I gotta get the player controller working here. Well, the player controller works, but it doesn't. It's not perfect. All right, let's go to package manager. Yeah, I kind of figured as much. Okay, so one thing is, I'm gonna go here, preferences. Nope, not what I want to be. Yeah. I'm basically just saying that I'm okay with pre-release versions. Now, here's pretty cool. Here's a pretty cool thing. If you didn't know this, ever since that Unity took and put in the AI features that it has with Unity AI. Now you can use Unity AI, right? And you can hit agree and install Unity AI, and it'll put Unity AI in. The problem is, at least to the best of my knowledge, you can't use Unity AI on a free Unity version. So the way around that is you have what's called the Unity MCP server. And so it won't show it right now, but once I get Unity AI in, or once I get the AI installed here, it'll help out. And I'll show what I'm talking about. But MCP allows you to actually come into Unity and start to work with an AI agent on your game, which I think is really cool. And the key phrase is force multiplier, not letting it do everything for you. You know, in the past, I've talked on this channel about how you don't want you don't want the AI to do everything for you. You want it to just be something that's there to help you to make the thing that you want to make. So the terrain that you see here is something that I'm working on. But things like actually like getting the systems in place, like the game, like actually getting the player character to move around the way that I want it to, or handling things like how it jumps. I think for at least getting things kind of started on that, I think it's not a bad idea. Gonna let it do its thing here. But I will say, you know, it's a slippery slope when it comes to using AI. You have to be careful, because if you start to do it, you could find yourself just wanting to do it and like let it just take over and do everything for you. And so you don't want that. You want to do some of the work. You want to give some of the work to the AI and have it help you, but you don't want to be the one to just, like, you know, let it do it all. Okay, so anyway, this is what I was talking about. If you go to your project settings, I'm gonna load it up here on this other screen, and then I'll explain it. But essentially, you can see here it's under project settings. It's once you have the AI assistant involved, and I apologize if you're on like a phone or something and you can't see this. I can't really zoom in, but if you're on like a desktop or a laptop or something, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But just in case you are on a smaller screen, once you open Unity MCP server, you'll see such things as, like, these are all the defaults: auto approve in batch mode, and then you'll see the Unity bridge, and you want to make sure that the status is running. And then, like in my case, I have Claude Code, right? And so if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see your integrations. And again, I'm going to take this off the screen just for privacy purposes here for myself. But if I can confirm that, yeah. So essentially, here, I'm just going to scroll up just a hair. All right, so essentially, if you come in here, you'll see integrations, and then you can configure things such as like Claude Code or Claude Desktop. There's Cursor, there's Windsurf, VS Code, GitHub, Copilot, Codex, and you can add any of those things that you want to add. In my case, I have Claude Code, and I think that that's very helpful. So I will be using it to help me out with getting some more of my game built here tonight, because there's a lot that I want to do here, and I think as a one-man team, I think having AI to help is definitely a force multiplier and a big help. So anyway. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so that way it has a full understanding of what it is I'm trying to do here. So the first thing is I'm going to set it up with Sonnet, which is just kind of the average model. I'm going to set it up on well, I'll set it up on high for this first one. And then, yeah, I'm just going to say, take a look at the project and get familiar with everything in the project in the game. I am building an open world RPG inspired by The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and The Witcher 3 and The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Okay. And then I'm going to say, once you understand everything about the current state of the game, create a new docs folder. In that docs folder, create a changelog MD file, markdown file, right? Now I want to give some credit where credit's due here. There is a YouTuber I actually learned this off of, and I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head, so I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to just discredit it and make it sound like I didn't learn this anywhere, because I did. I did learn how to do this from another YouTuber, and he's pretty good. Where's that? There you go. Okay, so the person on YouTube that I learned this from, his name is Sunny Valley Studio. So shout out to Sunny Valley Studio. His video is called "How to Make a 3D Platformer with Unity, MCP, and Claude Code." And I'm going to show it here on the stream. So in case you want to go ahead and take a look at it, this is what it looks like. How to make a 3D platformer with Unity, MCP, and Claude Code. Really good video, and I highly recommend checking it out if you're interested in using Claude for your development. He goes through step by step on how to get the MCP server working, how to get it all working, and it's best if you have a Claude subscription, and then you can come in here. But I'm basically kind of doing essentially the same sort of stuff that he did, but a little slightly different, because he's doing a platformer. I'm choosing to do an RPG, and I've also done this a couple times already, where I've tested it out and saw how good it is, and it's actually really amazing what you can do here. I kind of can't wait until Unity AI is built out a little bit more and see what people are able to build out with that as well. But it's kind of neat that we live in a time where you can build whatever you want and put it out in the world, and people can actually play it or use it and stuff. Now, I don't think that AI is perfect, but it's definitely come a long way in the last few years, and I think that the people who are gonna be able to get ahead are gonna be the ones that are using it. So now it's just gonna take its time and get its all working out here. So essentially at this point, yeah, I'm just gonna let it do its thing here. I'm gonna allow it to go through, and yes, there's gonna be a lot of this, allowing it to do what it needs to do. And then I have to make sure that it's connected up to the MCP server, which it is. It's just, I always think that it's a good idea to ask, just because you want to make sure that you don't run into any issues. You know, before I get too deep into this, I just want to say, like, you know, this isn't going to be on the same scale as The Legend of Zelda or Skyrim. Like, that's massive, and I'm only one guy. I found out pretty fast my first week doing this that to try to attempt to do something like that on that scale is something that would take somebody, just one person like me, with no actual experience in game development. And what I mean by experiences, I mean like somebody who is actually who has worked in the game industry, or who has any sort of like background as a level editor or programmer for a professional game company. Like, I have none of that, so I don't think that, you know, having that background, I don't think that I'm going to be able to handle that size of a scale, at least not at first. And if money wasn't a thing, right? If money wasn't a thing and people didn't have to make money, then I could, you know, take years of my life and try to make like that game, right? And so eventually I really would love to, but you know, I don't see it happening like that all at one time. I don't think it's gonna be a thing that I can do, because if you look up even like smaller projects, like Stardew Valley, for example, I think that it took Eric Barone something like, you know, 3 or 4 years, maybe even longer than that. Let me Google it. I'm just curious. How long did it take Eric Barone to make Stardew Valley? It took him 4.5 years to make Stardew Valley. He started it off as a solo developer in 2012, and he released it on February 26, 2016. He dedicated 10 hours a day, 7 days a week to the game. That's 10 hours of his day, 7 days per week. Now, let me tell you, I do not have that kind of time like he has, because I have a day job, and to have 10 hours a day, 7 days a week to dedicate to just a single game, that's amazing that Eric Barone was able to do that. And I don't even know how he had the money to do that. That's another question I would be curious about. Gosh, that's crazy that he was able to do that. He put in 70 hours per week for 4.5 years to make Stardew Valley as one person making that game. Let's do this. I'm gonna show, while we're waiting here, I'm just gonna show off, like, so that way I can kind of still see what's going on in the background. Or actually, you know what? I'll do this down here for a minute. We'll pull this up, and we'll go out and we'll do some research on Eric Barone. So yeah, let's go back to how long did it take Eric Barone to make Stardew Valley. At 4.5 years. I mean, that's insane. That's just insane. 10 hours a day, 7 days a week to make the game, right? So one question I have is, how did he afford to make ends meet while he was working on this for 10 hours per day for 7 days a week? Was he funded? Did he have a nest egg? Did he live at home with his parents? Was he married? Was he married? Did he have children? Like, these are all things I want to know. Like, these are, you know, these to me are kind of big questions. So it says Google's AI says Eric Barone was not funded by outside investors, did not have a nest egg, and does not have children. He managed to afford his 4.5 year development period through a combination of living with his parents. So that's a big one. He lived with his parents. And I mean, if you, that's on you. If you live with your parents and you're an adult, then, I mean, hey man, like, obviously he made it work because he's a huge success now, right? But I didn't have that. I didn't have that luck. And I wouldn't even necessarily call it luck, because like, I got married and I have kids, and I'm grateful and super happy with the choices that I made in my life. I would not want to be living at home with my parents. I love you, mom and dad, but I wouldn't want to be doing that. He took a part-time job, and that's something I can't do. I mean, I have a full-time job outside of this. I do something very different than what I do here with the game development stuff. Received extensive financial and emotional support from his long-term girlfriend, Amber Hagman. So it's like, I would say Eric Barone had a very unique circumstance into how he could make Stardew Valley. He lived at home with his parents. He was living with his girlfriend, who financially supported him. And, everybody has opinions on certain things like that. He wasn't married. He didn't have children. 10 hours a day to make that game. And obviously the game's a huge hit, and it is a lot of fun, and I love it. But I don't think everybody has what Eric Barone had. Like, Eric Barone had some very unique circumstances that he had going on. So let's just, while we're waiting here, because I'm still waiting here for the stuff to go forward. No, actually, it's done. Let's go ahead and we'll bring this back up, and maybe we'll go back into some more deeper details. So now this is the cool part. So it created all this, everything's set up. Here's a summary of what Claude found and what was done. So changelog MD and game MD were already created in a previous session with solid content. The game is called Adventure of Light. That's right, I did do that because I had already started making this. Oh, hold on a second. I'll be right back. All right. I think the mic's back on. Yeah, we're good. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream for now. Looks like the music stopped there. I'm sorry about that, y'all. But anyway, I have to head out because I have to take care of some family stuff. Speaking of the whole Eric Barone thing that we were talking about here a second ago, I have to take care of something for my family. And so this just kind of goes along with that, right? So somebody who can dedicate 10 hours a day and make that happen, that is amazing. But not everybody can do that. So you just gotta, the moral of the story is this: for anybody who's like me, and I know there's a lot of you guys out there right now, or girls, who are trying to make it happen, just squeeze it in when you can. Make the thing, make whatever the game is that you want to make. Just do it when you have the time. You don't always have to have 10 hours a day. You don't have to live with your parents. You just, if you are serious enough about whatever it is you're trying to make, just buckle down and make it. And that's all I have for you tonight. So you have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow. I know it was a short stream. I'm sorry about this. I got to go take care of family, but I'll be back tomorrow.